Well, hey everyone, and welcome back to Tactical Review. So today, we're going to get not quite my first shots, but we're going to take an early look at the Glock 43x. If you're not familiar with the 43x, it is a single stack or slim frame, we'll say slim frame, 9mm pistol from Glock. The 43x, speaking in generalities, has roughly the same grip length as the 19. You can see it is just a touch shorter, with a barrel length more commensurate to the Glock 26. The Glock 48 would actually be more of a single stack Glock 19 in comparison. With it being a single stack or a slim frame, from the factory, Glock gave us 10 round magazines. Once again, because there's only so much you can do with this magazine length and one stack of bullets. Enter Shield Arms. Shield Arms, with their S15 magazine, has basically removed the polymer wrap from the Glock magazine and increased the steel liner out to the same size as the exterior dimensions of the Glock polymer mags, which gives us a quasi stagger stack magazine that holds 15 rounds. Out of the box though, typical Glock polymer frame pistol, striker fired, same 5.5 pound trigger pull. Similar over travel and reset to every other Glock pistol. It has been said that if you own one Glock, you own every Glock for that reason. And if you're following the channel on Instagram and Facebook, you saw that I actually made commentary about that I might have spoiled myself for factory triggers with the installation of that 4.5 pound Ghost trigger disconnector. Anyway, I have been to the range and function checked this firearm, and because Glock perfection is, it's a great slogan, but it's not truth, I have replaced the sights with Ameriglow iDot Pro sights. We have added a TLR6 by Streamlight so that we have the ability to identify targets in less than ideal lighting conditions. And I have wrapped the grip on this pistol with a handle-it grip, just like on the Glock 19. So you might be asking yourself, well, if you already had a 15 round flush fit capacity Glock 9mm, why did you spend more money to get a 15 round capacity flush fit Glock 9mm? That's a great question. And to answer that, it's going to require talking about what we see off of the scales. So I don't have footage of the weighing, but I did weigh a few configurations. Number one, I weighed an unloaded 10 round factory magazine and an unloaded S15 magazine. And the S15 magazines come in at about 1/4 ounce lighter. So then I loaded both of those magazines up. Let's face it, in the grand scheme of things, 1/4 ounce isn't that big of a difference, but 50% more capacity, that's a pretty exceptional difference. So what did I find? As anticipated, the S15 magazine is heavier once they're loaded. What wasn't expected is the fact that it's only 2 ounces heavier. I then put the 43x with a loaded 15 round magazine on the scale, and then the Glock 19 with 15 rounds on the scale. And what I found is that my Glock 19, my personal Glock 19, which is important because once again, we've got a red dot on it and things like that, but that is my EDC, and it was a full 8 ounces or 9 ounces heavier than the 43x. So that is why I purchased a 43x. If you follow the channel once again on social media, you see that I try to get out and run and bike and just be out doing active things. And I was looking for a pistol that I could carry with, say, athletic shorts with the appropriate holster. And so a half a pound of difference makes a big difference in that realm. So I'm still waiting on my holster to come in. I have commissioned a holster from Four Brothers, because Four Brothers is a local manufacturer to me, a reasonably local manufacturer to me, and I like to support my local small businesses. So, however, Jason has been slammed, as you know, background checks and first-time gun ownership are way up here in the first part of 2020. So once I get that in, I can give us a quick little update and give us a weight difference. Well, hey, real quick, from the editing room, I realized that I need to get you guys these different weights that I promised you, now that I have holsters and mag holders and everything in. So up on the screen, you can see that the Glock 43x with the Shield Arms S15 magazine comes in 1 pound, 14.7 ounces in my Four Brothers Ulticlip holster. Compare that to my Glock 19 in my carry configuration at 2 pounds, 6¼ ounces. Now, there are those out there who would argue that that's not a fair comparison because my Glock 43x in its carry configuration does not have the optic and the extended barrel. So I also put the original slide and barrel back on it. So you can see there that it is still 2 pounds, 6.1 ounces. So we're still looking at quite a few ounces lighter for a Glock 43x with night sights, 15 rounds, and a flashlight compared to a Glock 19 with 15 rounds, standard Glock polymer sights, and a flashlight. Then, to get a little further down the rabbit hole, I compared the Glock 43x with a spare 15 round Shield Arms magazine. So there's a total capacity there on screen of 31 rounds ready to go. Came in at 2 pounds, 9¼ ounces, which, so I'd like to point out, that's only 3 ounces heavier than my Glock 19 in its carry configuration. When I moved to having 31 rounds on tap with the Glock 19, that puts us up to 3 pounds, 1.2 ounces. And so then finally, I did also want to weigh my Glock 19 in my typical daily carry configuration, where I actually have 33 rounds on tap because I carry a Glock 17 mag as my spare magazine, and it is 3 pounds, 2.3 ounces. So at the cost of an extra ounce, I get 2 more rounds of ammunition on tap. Anyway, I hope that these solid numbers and pictures up on screen help you guys to understand more why I found value in this. Let's get back to the range day footage and finish this up. Enough talking. Let's start shooting. Get some magazines loaded up and bring some steel, maybe. One thing I do want to mention is if you're doing the S15 mag conversion, you need to change out your magazine catch. Shield Arms does have an aluminum magazine catch. I was not able to find that in stock anywhere, so I went with the Hyde Industries extended magazine catch. It's made of the same grade aluminum as the Shield Arms unit. While it's extended, I don't think that I'm going to be accidentally dropping mags. Time on the range is going to be what determines that. And as is always the case, you want to make sure that any EDC firearm has been extensively tested by yourself on the range before you decide to trust your life with it. Especially if you're doing something like I'm doing here, where I have a third-party magazine system, so on and so forth. So, one last commentary before we start loading, or before I start shooting. With the Shield magazines, this is the first time that I have given the little mag loaders that come with things extensive use. They are a little tough to load. I've only loaded each of these magazines a couple of times though. They may break in. Again, it's an additional 50% capacity in a slimline firearm. So I'm willing to fight with the magazine a little bit to get it loaded. I think it'll break in. I'll keep you posted. All right, enough talking, shooting. All right, I'm shooting the Browning 124 grain range ammo today. And one thing I'd like to mention, there's witness marks on these magazines, and you will see brass at the 5 and 10 round mark, and those do appear to be accurate. In the 15 round witness hole though, it's a little difficult to see, and all you're going to see is the red follower. So anyhow, I have put one mag each of ammunition out of both of these magazines. So really not a lot of round count to talk about, but I did not have any issues out of either of those magazines. So here we go. And one last thing is that I was actually able to load both of these by hand with a lot less difficulty than the very first time. So either I ate my Wheaties this morning, or the springs are breaking in just a little bit. Yeah, I'm a terrible shot. We've discussed that. So one thing that kind of surprises me, maybe, with these smaller, with the narrower profile, I actually find it more of a struggle to keep a hold of the firearm. Interesting. So what do you guys think? Could you see yourself wanting or considering a single stack form factor or a slimline form factor pistol for EDC or for special carry? I mentioned kind of church carry on my Instagram post. So what do you guys think? Does the ability to use third-party magazines and get full-size or nearly full-size capacity affect that decision or your opinion in any way? I'm interested to know what you guys think. Once again, I will be revisiting this a little bit once I get my holster, and we'll talk about how my choice to put a flashlight on this affected, holster choices. Obviously, we've talked in the past that it does, and I just think that a flashlight on any defensive firearm is a great idea, but that's outside the realm of this video. As far as cost, I will say that the Shield Arms magazines are running about $40 every place I've found them. That does put them at slightly more expensive than like Glock 19 and Glock 17 mags, depending on when and where you purchase them. But they're right on par with what I've seen for metal mags, like the Metgar mags, for other handguns. I appreciate you guys watching today. If you give me a thumbs up on the video, I'd appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on YouTube, click that notification bell so that you see when I upload new content. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can do that over at Patreon or now over on Subscribestar. No tiers or anything. If you guys feel like you want to help support what I do, get reviews out on gear and accessories, you guys can do that over there. Or you can go over to the merchandise store and pick yourself up a couple t-shirts. The channel gets a couple of dollars from every t-shirt purchased in our merchandise store, and you guys get shirts to help spread awareness about the Second Amendment. I've mentioned social media a couple of times. You should be following the channel over there with this username on Instagram and Facebook. Appreciate you guys' support. Until next time, shoot straight, stay safe.